every time Vice President Harris makes an appearance on any national interview that doesn't come scripted to her desire.
Even then, doesn't even matter. They're all scripted. She will not sit down for an unplanned interview. She will not. I guarantee you, her people will not let her sit down without prepared questions. Never going to happen.
Well, that's not what happened last night when she decided to go on with Brett Baier on Fox News. Now, what's equally amazing is I watched, and I could tell you, full stop, she face planted. She also rage quit.
That'll be the last interview that she does that isn't scripted. If they let her do that for the first time and that's how it went, you will never see her doing another one again.
Yeah, this was not good.
I'm sure it's bad. It's bad when she has a script.
But what's interesting is when the support machine, the spin machine, if you will, within the Democratic Party in particular, they're actually out there suggesting that she did a great job, which is just unbelievable.
In doing what?
She did a great job. You're going to say that this interview was great? Here's what happened last night.
Unstable.
He is unstable, Brett.
He's not well. You say he's mentally not stable?
He's not stable.
Let me ask you this. You told many interviewers that Joe Biden was on his game, that ran around circles on his staff. When did you first notice that President Biden's mental faculties appeared diminished?
Joe Biden, I have watched from the Oval Office to the Situation Room, and he has the judgment and the experience to do exactly what he has done in making very important decisions on behalf of the American people.
There were no concerns raised?
Brett, Joe Biden is not on the ballot.
I understand.
And Donald Trump
but
is.
You talked about it.
And Donald Trump
After George Clooney said within a few minutes of talking to President Biden at a fundraiser that he thought this was not the same Joe Biden.
I give him credit, if only because she's trying to talk her way out of not answering a question.
Well, she's about to say, well, do you want Trump? That is in her mind. That's all she has. That's all she has. She's horrible. Again, I can't believe they let her go unscripted.
I don't know what she actually, you see, this is the thing that
unless he went off script.
No, I don't think so, because the interview, well, first of all, she apparently showed up to this interview like 15 or 20 minutes late, and there was like a specific amount of time that was allocated for this particular interview. So it's not entirely surprising that it went down this way.
He might not have told her that he was good. If she wasn't prepared, like, that's a question that probably wasn't on the list.
Yeah, but why would they? There's no reasoning behind that concept as far as I'm concerned. You're making a conscious effort to go on to what she perceives as a necessity. And here's the thing. I believe that she went on to Fox News because, as you and I have been debating for, well, not even debating, but kind of agreeing upon for the most part for a while, is that her internal numbers, particularly with left voters, is terrible. Like, it's probably really bad. And she feels the need to go here thinking that she's going to convince more people to come to her side. And so her way of going about it is to start off by just talking about how terrible Trump is. He's not the answer. He's not going to solve any of these problems. Okay, so let's just assume that that is the case. Well, as this next clip is going to show you.
Well, what is she going to do? But here's what's what I think we need to say about her going on Fox thinking, okay, well, I'm toast with the left. I'm toast with progressives. Let's see if I can find some non-Trumpy Republicans that'll come my way. But all that served to do, just in that short, brief amount, was complete confirmation bias for all the Fox people that are already voting for Trump.
That's true.
She did not do anything. Every time she opens her mouth, she loses points, period. And it will keep being that. And I said it in the very beginning.
Well, if you think that's a bad start, this is even worse.
You said turn the page, Madam Vice President. You were asked on 2 different shows last week what, if anything, you would do differently than President Biden. Here's what you said.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Under a Harris administration, what would the major changes be, and what would stay the same?
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm obviously not Joe Biden.
I noticed.
And so that would be one change in terms of, but also I think it's important to say with, 28 days to go, I'm not Donald Trump.
So
can I just say it is absolutely incredible what a absolute shilling mouthpiece Stephen Colbert has become for the Democratic establishment.
Oh, he lost as soon as he had his show where he was no longer his character and he was actually himself. That's when he ceased to be remotely entertaining to me.
And he was great in that character
because it was a character. We liked the character. Yeah,
tonight. Yeah, of course.
He's not Jon Stewart,
and he is not. You know what? He is not. Why am I blanking on his name? The Brit. He does the show on HBO.
John Oliver.
He's not John Oliver.
No.
You're not Joe Biden. You're not Donald Trump. But nothing comes to mind that you would do differently?
Let me be very clear. My presidency will not be a continuation of Joe Biden's presidency. Okay. And like every new president that comes into office, I will bring my life experiences, my professional experiences, and fresh and new ideas. I represent a new generation of leadership. I, for example, am someone who has not spent the majority of my career in Washington, D.C. I invite ideas, whether it be from the Republicans who are supporting me, who were just on stage with me minutes ago, and the business sector, and others who can contribute to the decisions that I make about, for example, my plan for increasing the supply of housing in America and bringing down the cost of housing.
Stop that. Trump does an infinitely better job of listening to other people and bringing in outsiders. She actually sucks at it. So I don't know who she thinks she's working with other than the Republicans, because she is a Republican. But like, what new ideas? What is she talking about?
This constant bragging about, well, I have support from the Republican. It's like, what? If you were
Keith's right. Keith is right on that. I'm a top tier candidate. Saw how that did for her.
Yeah, that didn't work out too well. And just the idea that she tries so hard not to come off like she's an elitist in the capacity that Hillary Clinton.
She's trying to sell herself like she's regular people, whereas Trump was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. And Tim Black, who I always reference, made a very good point, which is, Trump's silver spoon and he's elitist and he's all that. But we know where he got his money from. But you look at someone like Obama, or you look at someone like her that wants to hang out with all these elitist people that are supposedly in public service. Where's their money from? We know Trump had money. How did Obama get so rich? How are all her friends doing that well?
Yeah, it looks like there's 80 billionaires that are supporting Harris and there's 60 billionaires supporting Trump. I think that's a problem. I think that's a broken system.
She has as many, right? She has just as many billionaires.
She has more.
Oh, okay, yeah.
She's got like 25% more than Trump does.
Oh, yeah.
That's not.
But that's why she's doing those commercials. Like, she's the working person. Even as Obama said, she's the one who grew up with you, went to school with you. Not unless you lived in a nice middle-class neighborhood in Canada.
We'll finish this one out, and then we got one more.
Addressing the issue of small businesses, which is about working with the private sector to bring more capital and access to capital to our small business leaders, including my plan for a $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers and for small businesses, extending the tax deduction from $5,000 to $50,000.
We've heard a lot about those plans in recent days.
Yeah, we've heard a lot about it, but
is that her opportunity economy?
That's part of the opportunity economy.
Well, the opportunity for Goldman Sachs.
Yes, but you're not addressing again, she's not a small business owner, so she's not talking about what the real issues are here. For example, you have different state laws that require you to go through a lot of different hoops in order to start a business, while having financial stability of some kind in order to get a business off the ground, depending on what the business is. You're not just going to do it for anything. This is why I'm a huge advocate. Everyone talks about tuition-free college. I would be okay with it, but you have to have tuition-free trade schools. You have to be able to provide people with an opportunity to obtain a career that actually is going to provide value to the community. If you're just going to say, oh, all small businesses, no matter what they're doing, are going to be able to cut. No, it's like there are certain needs and requirements in society. It's like knowing, for example, if you were to learn how to operate some type of machinery, let's say with Caterpillar, if you learned how to operate a backhoe, it's not a glamorous job, but there are a lot of people that make $200,000 a year doing that job. So it's sort of the same concept. It's not, she doesn't know how to talk about the everyday worker that a president really needs to be able to
She
talk
doesn't
about.
know how to talk to anybody. But the other issue is all of her so-called policies that she's talking about, whether it's the loans to Black people that she was talking about for small business loans and stuff like that. The problem with all of those things, money for first-time home buyers, all of those things, the vast majority of people in this country do not buy homes. The vast majority of people in this country do not run businesses, and many people don't want to. Not everybody wants to run a business. Some people are perfectly content just going to work and being treated decently and getting a decent salary and being with their family on the weekends. Like, not everybody wants to own a business. So policies that only help things like home ownership and small businesses does not help America.
Not only that, but if you look back at the truly thriving time in the nation's history, which was from FDR to JFK, what you will find, particularly in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, is that people could work a 9 to 5, 40 hours a week, bless you, and afford to buy a home, but it was a modest home. It was 1,500 square feet. It wasn't anything substantial. People really get this misconception about what people wanted. When you think about George Washington's Mount Vernon, it's a big home, but it's not obnoxiously big. It's a few thousand square feet. But for the day when it was constructed, it was a mansion. That's what that was. If you've ever been to
he married money.
He did. And you know what? If you've been to Andrew Jackson's Hermitage in Nashville, Tennessee, that's a beautiful home. But that's, again, was built by slaves. And it was also a home that would be considered modest today in terms of size. Ray Dalio, who's one of the most successful investors who ever lived, he has a home on Palm Beach Island today that's worth about $100 million. And the monstrosity of these properties gets so out of whack, you create this imbalance in society where people are simply not able to afford anything.
Like that house in Southwest Ranches that's being built.
Yeah.
There's a house being built down here in Southwest Ranches. It'll be the largest house down here. And I think they said it was 64,000 square feet, something like that.
Yeah. Do you know what 64,000 square feet is? That's the size of 2 humongous major industrial parks. That's what that is.
Well, this house that's being built in Southwest Ranches, I think it's 64,000 square. It's over 60. I think it's 64,000 square feet. And I can't fathom.
No, it's beyond obscene. It's beyond obscene. And no one, again, as you've said, pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. And we're in the hog stage where you're just waiting for them to explode is kind of where we're at now. But we've got one more clip where Kamala's going to tell us all about her wonderful wisdom about economics and how she's going to solve everything. So we'll see what she has to say.
Plans for our economy would strengthen our economy. His would make them weaker.
Why do you
would
think
ignite
more people
inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year? Those are the facts.
Why do you think more people say they trust him on the economy than they trust you?
I think that when you look at an analysis of our plans for what we would do as president of the United States, it has been clear to those who study and understand how economic policy works that moving forward, because I do believe the American people are ready to turn the page on the divisiveness and the type of rhetoric that has come out of Donald Trump. People are ready to chart a new way forward, and they want a president who has a plan for the future, and a plan that is sound and will strengthen our country. My plan for the economy does exactly that. His plan would be, again, to give tax cuts to billionaires and the biggest corporations in our country and blow up our deficit.
But you're already doing the same thing. You had the opportunity to allow the Trump tax cuts to expire, and you're not going to do that.
She can't answer the question, Henry. She has no answer.
And on top of everything else, she is funded by the same people that he's funded by. You can say that you're not representing billionaires, but you are.
Well, okay, I'm not representing billionaires, but Goldman Sachs approves of my economic plan.
Yeah, she's not going to mention that.
That's pretty representing billionaires, because I don't think Goldman Sachs represents working people.
Goldman Sachs is the largest investment firm in the world. In the world. There is nobody bigger than Goldman Sachs.
Well, they approve of her economic plan. So that means it's good for them. So then how in the world does she sell that?
Well, she's selling it because she doesn't really have anything else to say. Now, if I were in her shoes and I was answering the question saying, well, why do people trust Trump more than they trust your plan? He would say, bottom line, we haven't done all that we can for the American people.
Notice how she also said before he asked that, about we will be this kind of president. She didn't say I. Yeah. She said we. And that's very telling. And as I've said all along, she is not her.
No.
She is Hillary. No. She works with Hillary. She works for Hillary. She keeps saying we. Who's we?
I'm totally going to help you run. I'm going to make your life better. We're going to totally take over. Again, you can tell the difference between a person who maybe just bullshitting his way through it, but he does it with confidence. He doesn't lack for that. He totally sure of people feel confident in Trump. I don't know how you feel confident in this. There is no confidence here. This is somebody who, and you can tell by the way she talks.
Oh my God.
Everything is memorized.
Maybe this is why she didn't prosecute people. She knew she sucked at it. I mean, I can't fathom how this woman was a litigator. I will never get over that. I have worked with litigators. I've known litigators. I was a litigator. Like, this woman has nothing about her that looks like she could litigate a case. Like, I don't understand how she did that.
No, but she really does memorize like everything that she says. Everything is rehearsed. Everything. There's nothing that's off the cuff that truly is genuine. It is so, she's so Manchurian. It's very, it's like, I can't fathom 4 years of listening to this. The fact of the matter is, if she does win,
she ain't no litigator. I got litigator.
Very seldom, very, very seldom do I think. I mean, you want to talk about, Biden was very rarely seen in public and was never giving press conferences and never doing interviews. I can't even imagine what it'll be like if Kamala was president. It'll be even worse. She'll never come out in public.
She doesn't need to. Because she's not her. We don't need to talk to her. We need to talk to the handlers. I wish one of these people who are interviewing her would say, all right, we need to speak to the manager now. Can you call the manager? Because that's how I feel listening to her talk. If I were this guy, I'd say, can you call your boss so we can get an answer?
I just think what's even more ridiculous is that there are people, we're not even listening to the worst parts of what she did during this interview. I can assure you I've seen the clips and it's really bad. So the idea that we're trying to listen to the substantive and not just the soundbite parts.
There's no substance.
And there are people who think that this is great stuff. They think that she did a great job. Let's finish it.
I hope you got to say what you wanted to say about Donald Trump. There are a lot of things.
There's more to say. I have
there
much more to
are
say,
a lot of things that people want to learn about you and your policies, and that's why
I invite everyone to go to kamalaharris.com. And you will see that I have 80 pages of policies that are quite comprehensive and should be accessible to anyone who would like to read them. And it includes what I intend to do about affordable housing, what I intend to do about small businesses, what I do.
And that's why we invited you here to see where you were in 2019 and where you are now.
America's military and ensure we have the most lethal and best fighting force in the world.
Madam Vice President, and they're giving me a hard rap
Well,
here.
I thank you for the time.
I thank you for the time.
It's good to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
A hard rap? Well, you know that she wanted to make sure.
She's not answering questions.
She wanted to make sure that she got in, that we will have the most lethal of all the words that you could use.
Well, she's on Fox. Got to know your audience, I guess.
We will have the most lethal fight if we are going to kill everybody. You think you could kill people, Trump? I'll kill many more than you could ever do. Thank you, Mark. The anointed imbecile.
Yeah, I agree. And she will lose. She's going to lose handedly, and it's going to be worse than 16.
If anybody is real, if anybody feels momentum in politics, if anybody feels political energy and where things are going right now, to me, I didn't think Trump could win until the last weekend. He gave this, he did this rally in Sterling Heights, Michigan, and 100,000 people showed up. Hillary was doing a concert in Philadelphia, bless you, and she needed Springsteen, Bon Jovi, and I think a whole bunch of other people that showed up, and they couldn't even fill up the stadium. And these are with A-list headliner people.
You're telling me Bruce made an appearance and they didn't fill up?
It's just like on Saturday or Sunday night.
Let me tell you what a fall from grace that is.
It is. Bruce is doing a special with George Stephanopoulos on ABC on Sunday morning at 10 o'clock. Remember, if you want to get the insight as to, what it's like to be the boss going live on tour, check it out.
I don't think she's going to win. I don't either.